Thank you. Greg, I have another question about my brother, but it's a little bit weird what's going on with him. So I don't know. I just want to bring it up to you, and then maybe you can think about it and then get back with me, because it's a little weird how he's describing it to me. He says that it's like a feeling that he gets kind of like right at the soul, or maybe a little bit above, and it's a feeling that comes up the chest, and then it kind of stops like right like center of the chest. And then he feels inside like something is expanding, like if something's gonna burst, but then he says, then it goes away. And he says that he kind of gets scared when he feels that. He's not sure what it is, and he's not really sure how to describe what's going on also, but that's the best he said he could do.
Is he having anxiety, excuse me, anxiety or panic when it's happening?
He said he's getting scared, like he said he was getting it like once every 2 weeks. Now it's happening once a week, and he says he gets scared. So I'm imagining that he's probably getting anxiety. Maybe he thinks like it's like he's not gonna be able to breathe, or I haven't seen him like actually go through it, but that's just kind of what he was concerned about.
Maybe an anxiety attack.
Okay. So like some kava kava would be good for him?
Kava kava, clary sage, lemongrass, neroli, petitgrain, any of those would help. Spikenard. Sometimes anxiety attacks are like, sometimes anxiety attacks are things going on in the body, but like there are like mental things that can trigger anxiety. And so like let me give an example. When we make a decision, for example, some of the decision is conscious and some of that decision is unconscious. And the difficulty is that they don't always agree with each other. Like, you know, our conscious thought, we might talk ourselves into it, or we go, oh, this is what's going on, but unconsciously we're doing something different, or we feel something very, very different, right? And so when the conscious mind and the unconscious mind are, you could say, not in agreement, the byproduct is anxiety. Then the other thing is, another source of mental anxiety is not like feeling out of control about the future, like not being able to control the future, which none of us can, but you could say we have a little bit of like the illusion that we are controlling the future, right? And so when reality kind of sinks in a little bit, sometimes people have to acclimate to it and sometimes people don't. And that can be a little rough. Like, I mean, it can be a little rough. And so it could also be a little bit of, he's feeling his future's a little not unstable, but out of control. Which it's that way for all of us all the time. You know, we do things to kind of keep things relatively in control, but you know, we're never really completely in control. And so sometimes when that really strikes a person, it will produce a lot of anxiety.
Could it be also because he's anticipating that he'll be moving out pretty soon? Because I think his son is almost about ready to take
totally
him.
Because of that. Yeah, I would say.
And he's been here with like my sister and I feel like he's been not babied, but like taken care of in a different way that he has been before.
Yeah.
And he gets a lot of attention from us. And then I think he's going to go from that to like.
Yeah. It's okay if you can't. I suspect it's a lot of that. Like this is what I would say about it. It's a little bit of a coincidence that it's happening like while that's on the horizon. And it doesn't mean it's always the case, but it would be a coincidence. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
As you were explaining, I was thinking maybe that's what it is. I'm thinking maybe he's
Yeah,
experiencing that.
I almost will. I mean, just as like all the years of doing therapy, it's always like something like, you know, when somebody has anxiety, if you start asking them questions, it's usually something that's unresolved, some unprocessed, or something going on in the body. It's almost every time you can pinpoint like, oh, they're having respiratory issues. Oh, they have an endocrine issue. Oh, that, you know, like you can kind of start going down the list. And then when it's not something physical, you start going, okay, well, tell me what's going on. There's usually some decision that they've made that, or having to make that they're like at odds with, or something's on the horizon that's like feels like out of control or unresolved. And so the thing is like the calmer you can keep them, the more they can make the transition in that situation, and the more that they can like resolve it and move through it. But it's usually not just out of the blue. Like it's almost never out of the blue. Like I knew this one person one time, she had really, really bad panic attacks. And, you know, she was going through a divorce and didn't know what her future was going to be like. And she was just, man, she was having panic attacks all the time, like to the point where every time she would have them, she would call like an ambulance or, you know, something. And, you know, because panic attacks, it feels like you're dying. Like, I mean, it feels like you are in the middle of the dying process. And so as time went by and like her lifestyle got a little bit more defined and a little bit more stable, all of a sudden the panic attacks stopped. Like it's just like they just went done. And it's because now all of that was resolved, you know. And so the thing is like in the middle of it, you can't say, oh, this is about the future and you gotta I mean, they're in the heat of it. Like you try to keep them as stable as possible as they go through it, so that they get to the other side. Because the thing that's really going to resolve it is them resolving it in the external world. And so you just try to keep them as stable as possible and not treat it as like that is just a symptom. You know, it's just you're just kind of providing some therapy until they get to a better place. You know, same example, same idea, like when you're dealing with a woman who's pregnant and is having back pain. The thing that's going to resolve that back pain is having that baby, not treating the back all the time. Treating the back helps, but until she has that baby, it's not going to get resolved. You know, same idea.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Definitely. Yeah, because that's what when you started saying some, I was thinking, you know what, I bet that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little bit even like when we were putting him on the anise and all that stuff to balance out his nervous system. Some of it was to help like kind of prophylactically treat that, like, you know, before it really got a thing, because, you know, he's going through something. So you just got to support him going through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, like I've been giving him mainly just the Bayloral, because I noticed like if I was trying to give him like one day anise, one day Bayloral, but if I skip the Bayloral, his left underarm pit wakes up real swollen because he's got it kind of big.
Stick with the Bayloral. That's more important.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. I said, I think we're going to stick with the Bayloral. Yeah.
Yeah. Way more important. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing, he can just inhale. Yeah.
The Bayloral?
No, the anise. Like whatever you're going to use. Yeah. Or the
kava kava.
Berry sage or the petitgrain or the neroli, that he can just inhale. Spikenard, vetiver. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And I got my oils today.